Welcome to the Anchor Premier Podcast, where we aim to translate real estate into reality. We hope to educate and entertain and invite you into the conversation. Myself, Brian Cohen, and my co-host, Johnny Dugan. If you have a comment or an idea for a topic or interview, please leave it below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so that when new episodes come out, you're the first to know. Now let's get to it.
Welcome back to the Anchor Premier Podcast, where every Thursday we attempt to translate realty into reality. In this show, we'll cover all things home and real estate with a focus on educating, and then every once in a while get lucky and entertain our consumer and our viewer and our listener. So we're going to introduce our panel, the dynamic duo Brian Cohen, residential and commercial real estate guru. Hey, B-Rye. He's at the Brian Cohen.
That seems a quite liberal use of the word guru.
This is how at Brian Cohen on the Instagram. And then there's me. I'm driving the bus for this Christmas show. Johnny Dugan. I am the residential real estate craftsman of the deal. I can't shake it. Feels good. Out at Mountain Mansions GA on the Facebook and on the YouTubes.
I will say I'm going to go ahead and add something to my Christmas list now that we're talking about it.
Right.
I'm going to need like a Bob Vila style picture of Johnny in overalls in a house.
Right.
Like, and a big caption, craftsman of the deal.
There's a new thumbnail coming. I smell it.
Yes. I want an Al Borland meets Bob Vila meets American Grizzly.
Right. Got to have a big mountain background. Oh, yeah, sawdust in the hair.
Mm-hmm. A real Ron Swanson situation going
on. We are the Anchor Premier Realty Group, and this is our Christmas show.
It's going to be so much fun.
Jingle bells. So I'll get some jingle bells. So this is our Christmas show. We're pretty excited about it. We're gonna do two Christmas shows. We're gonna do this Christmas show, which will stick to our standard format. We're trying to learn, help some people understand, a little bit more about real estate, especially this time of year. And then we're gonna do another fun show. We're calling it our BahHumbug show. Yes. We love the holidays. But we all know that there's some fun to be had and some gripes to be had, and we're gonna highlight a few of them.
Part of the fun of comedy is kind of talking about the things that nobody talks about. So we're just gonna lean into it and hope that y'all enjoy.
Yeah, comedy's rooted in truth for sure. So you might notice we've got a new layout. We've got some new camera, our studio layout here. And you might notice we're rolling with a dynamic duo here. So we are missing our good friend and colleague Elliot McWhorter. Mm-hmm. So if you know where he is, tell him to call his mom. No, Elliot has jumped on a really good opportunity. Had a good conversation with us. We will miss his input here on the show for sure. But he is still here at the brokerage, and so what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and we look forward to from good things with Elliot and sitting across from the closing table with Elliot. So
absolutely.
Look him up. He's still doing really good things.
Yeah. Go get him, big guy.
Go get him. So on to our Christmas show. So again, I'll play some jingle bells.
Yeah.
And so we have a question of the day. Our question of the day comes from our sponsor, Anchor Real Estate Advisors. Anchor Real Estate Advisors, you are loved. Mm-hmm. So our question of the day, and it's a simple one: are you a ahead of time shopper, or are you behind? Are you behind, or are you just a natural procrastinator?
Well, that's a great question. I am actually a natural procrastinator. I want to be inspired, but often inspiration and timelines don't sync up.
Right.
So I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm a Christmas Eve shopper.
Yeah. Right.
And I don't like it, but at the same time, maybe I just got to embrace it.
No pressure, no diamonds.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe quite literally. Sometimes the pressure is on, and that forces the creative mind to actually sit down and do it. I literally try to write things down throughout the year. I try to be that guy. It's like, this year I'm going to have that super thoughtful gift of something, that was mentioned back in, June.
Yes.
And I have some running tally. But all that said, I am the classic procrastinator and Amazon was built for me for Christmas time.
Assuming that they're running on time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, if you look up like what is standard overnight stuff is now like 4 or 5 days. So be aware of that. Yeah. The Christmas Eve Amazon shopper, that's not happening. So you got to be in by probably the 19th or so. But
that junk was gone at Thanksgiving because I ordered something for my dad for Thanksgiving, for Christmas.
Yep.
And it had to get sent 3 times to get the right thing. So, just going to say the errors might be up with the higher volume. So, plan
for sure.
accordingly.
I got lucky this year. My wife had an old ring, and she wanted to have it reset into a new ring. So, reusing the stones, and I said, that's a great project. And so, she went off and did that, she dropped it off in, August or something. And then they ended up designing this ring and making this ring, and what we thought was going to be a really nominal cost ended up going high enough to where I am off the hook for Christmas.
There you go.
Yeah, she has supplied her own Christmas gift to let me off the hook.
That's the gift that keeps on giving.
That is the gift that keeps giving. My stress level from here on out, all I gotta do is buy boy kid toys.
Which is easy.
Easy peasy. Yeah, a couple dump trucks.
So, are y'all the way we are? I buy Bear everything way too early. I bought him stuff for his first birthday that I'm pretty sure he won't use till his 3rd birthday.
That is a classic overbuy situation with kids.
Dad move?
Yeah.
Classic dad move?
Yeah, classic dad move,
Okay.
Because he's going to play with the box. And, and for us, we've talked about it. We love trains. I'll get this really cool train. This year, my son is about turned 5. He can put the train on the track by himself now for the first time. And by the way, before we get into the BahHumbug stuff, that's a very frustrating thing to watch your kid. You give him a gift, and then he can't. He struggles to make it happen, and off to the side it goes. But I do run the advantage of we have lots of family, and we end up doing early family events, and the boys get so much stuff, and then I'll just fill in the blanks at the end.
Absolutely.
You wanted the dinosaur, I'll get that dinosaur, and then that that supplements whatever. Or if they get dominoes, I'll get more dominoes or whatever. So that's the way I play it. Our family does it early enough where I've got time to adjust the game plan.
Between his uncles, aunts, my parents, Megan's parents, other random stuff. And we're kind of semi-minimalists when it comes to stuff.
Right.
So, honestly, she's like, I'm buying him nothing.
Right.
And that's 3rd year running. I always get him something.
Sure.
So she got him a basketball. Don't listen, Bear.
Right.
Give it up. I'm sorry. But she's like, that's the one thing I'm getting him.
Mm-hmm.
And we had, family Christmas the other day.
Mm-hmm.
They friggin' loaded him up.
Yeah.
He is. And with stuff that I would have never bought. And
right.
he loves it.
Yep.
So it's awesome.
Right. And you still kind of look like the hero.
Yeah.
Who
cares? He likes
cares?
it.
Right.
Who cares where it came from?
I don't think I'm any different from the average Joe when it comes to timing and shopping.
Yeah,
but I will say, if it's last second, I will do the shopping at 10 o'clock at night. And we're going to get into some of that a little bit later.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So great. That was a question of the day. That was fun.
Yeah,
all right. So on to some real estate related questions. So one that comes up for us is, does anyone actually list or sell their house at this time? During the holiday season, but just winter time, and it's dark early, and people are sleepy, and plus they're distracted. Mm-hmm. What say you on the idea of listing?
I mean, as a general rule, I think everybody says we've seen there's seasonality to everything. Right now between August, September, and December is a lot of like the slower time. Sometimes extends that into January. People start getting more active, but not maybe particularly decisive in December or January and February. But there are still people that, need or want to buy something or sell something, out of either a need or a desire. If you're moving, it's a great time to change schools if you have to, like at a break versus, pull them out and they're back in the next Monday. So you do have those situations. So like what I say, it's the best time ever to sell. I mean, maybe not necessarily based on your situation. The people that are out there that, need to sell or need to buy, it's as good of a time as any. I think expectations are pretty important, but it's kind of nice sometimes to sell or move during a time that it's not crazy.
Right. And that's the difference, right? So, this is going to sound very, real estate agent-y pitchy, but there's not a wrong time to list. It's really just managing the expectations of what's going to happen. So you might say, you know what, I don't want to fight those summer crowds. I don't want to be, I don't want to have a caravan of people coming through my house all weekend long and a bunch of looky-loos. When you list now, the stats bear out that the buyers are more serious. They're fewer, but there's also fewer houses listed. And so it's a little more business-like. People aren't going to come look at your house just to check it out like they would during, a busier season. And you're still likely to sell before the competition of springtime rolls along. So is it going to take a little bit longer to sell? Yes. And you think, well, that is inherently bad, right, that it takes longer? Well, not necessarily, and here's why. If you listed it, say, November 1st, and then you sell it 3 months later, February, or early March, you still sold it before if you had waited till spring. It's still sold. And so will it sell in, a shorter amount of time after listing during the spring? It's likely, but you're going to face a lot more crowd, a bit more inconvenience, because there's going to be a lot more random people coming through and wanting to see the house during the week, and that kind of thing. So it's a trade-off. It doesn't mean that in the wintertime you're going to get less money because there's less buyers. There is also less competition. So the supply and demand formula really kind of stays the same. And it is a less hectic time. Yeah. And it does put you on the front side of potential buyers when they start getting more serious. So if you were to list now and go, you know what, I want to get it listed, I want to put it in front of people, and then it's okay if it sits all the way through December. That's the plan. I want to move, the week of Christmas anyway. But people that do start getting more serious in January, one, they're going to see your house while they're sitting at their folks' house bored, thumbing through on their phone. They're going to see your house, save it, and say, that's the first house I want to look at in January, once we get through the holidays. That's a kind of a part of the strategy. And then your house should be one of the first ones to go when the season starts heating up. So it's a way of staying ahead of the power curve. And then it's very, to your point, it's very family and situational dependent. If it's time for you to go, or, it makes sense for you to move, certainly because of a job or school change or whatever, simply saying, I'm not going to list in the wintertime because, it's just not a good time, that's not, it's not the case, so long as you kind of build into your strategy to take a little longer.
Yeah, it's a great point that things will, there's that pace and you can kind of maybe a little bit more predictability, but also, there's a lot, we talk about this a lot, there's a lot of practical benefits to selling in the winter. We talk about all the things that are outside of just the transaction of the actual home. It's all right, well, moving companies are more available, the reputable ones are more available, or just outright available. Right. The prices are cheaper. If you need to rent something or move something, shoot, if you need you're buying a new house and you need all new appliances, Black Friday is a great day to buy a whole bunch of stuff. Yep. And so it can kind of be a nice opportunity to move. You have that time that you're already off. You can use some of that time to, if not actually sell, but prepare to sell. Maybe and do it without having to worry about, our family vacation's about to happen. I got to get ready for family vacation. I got to, we can't go on the lake because we had to pack the house up or whatever. Yeah. You can take a little bit of that Christmas time.
I had several houses in the spring where the folks were like, we just need to be gone by July, whatever, because that's our family vacation.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, granted, there you do have Christmas parties and actual Christmas and, last-minute shopping. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I call it last-minute shopping if you hadn't shopped in the first place. It's pretty much just shopping.
Right.
Anyway, but, you can pack up, get prepped.
You mentioned movers, but there's a lot of tangential players in the mix. So there's appraisers, inspectors, all those folks. When the season, we're in a cyclical, slower season is the winter time. So, but all these folks are still in the same job. So my point there is all those folks are now more available. So when you want to march through the process, you don't have an 8-day wait on an appraiser and then another 4-day wait on an inspector. You line those folks up and you can bang, bang, bang. And like I said, there are deals happening. Go online, pull up Zillow on your phone. There are houses for sale. There's a reason. And like I said, the inventory or the buyers to sellers ratio is still similar now as it is in the summertime. So that's a key element. There's still, there's 5 buyers for every house on the market or whatever the number is, but it's the same ratios in the summertime. So you can take advantage of that. And you had mentioned it too, just there oftentimes during the holidays there's built-in days off. So during those built-in days off, you can be prepping to move or moving or packing or whatever.
Santa's little helpers don't have to be at school.
Yeah.
You can just packing, son.
That's right.
You want cookies?
That's right.
5 boxes.
That's right. Yeah, got plenty of cookies on. Yeah. CVS got all the cookies. So that's the soft pitch for it's a little late in the season now because it's pretty much right at mid-December now. But the point is from an educational perspective, the wintertime is fine. And if you're thinking about buying, you don't need to wait till spring either. No. In fact, you're going to face less competition if you're out there looking now.
Yeah.
And we'll put the interest rates aside. Like if it's time for you, it's time for you. If if your life situation has you set up to, and now is a good time. Again, in the real estate market side, the crowds are smaller. They're all at the mall, and you can go look at houses. So consider that as well. So we're going to talk about with stores. I hate crowds. So the idea of a slow down pace in this major life deal, I kind of like the idea of that. So it's not a bad season.
Especially when you're looking back at the last couple of years before like 2020, 2021. It was like you had to decide the minute you walked in there because somebody is probably about to make an offer as you were seeing the property. Right. So it was like you actually have a little bit of time. Sure. You can actually, since nobody's in a hurry, for lack of better terms, you can give people a little bit more window. You can take a little. You can
actually sleep on it.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, literally, you can sleep on it. You have your time. They can sleep on it and not get all bent out of shape about some crazy timeline. Sure. I mean, from my perspective, if you are able to have either a gap or, if you're able to pay 2 payments for 3-4 months, I think it's a great time to buy during the holidays. And especially if you can just say, we'll close whenever you want. You can enjoy the holidays, have your spring purchase, and then sell in the spring. Right. Because if you think that, if your house is, just a normal house, I would say that the demand's probably going to be similar. Yep. But if you live in a place that's, a certain neighborhood that people exclusively want to live in, you live on the lake or something like that, having more buyers actually could benefit you from a financial perspective. And if you don't have to wait to buy because you already did, right? I don't think you're going to do any worse. Right. In most cases, you might do a little better, but you might end up just having an easy transition. Yeah. And have it be a wash. Right. And that's the thing. It is a slower time on the market, but there are benefits to it, and it's a trade-off. Yeah. And so
just don't be scared of a winter market, and let us kind of walk you through why it's beneficial, and then we'll build a strategy that kind of pertains to that.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of our opening component about, sales during the holidays. But let's say, a lot of people out there are going, okay, I got to get through the holidays before I can really think about buying or selling. And that's a very common thing. So we don't want to cast those folks
It's
away.
completely understandable.
Yeah, completely understandable. My brain works in time blocks like that. So, so if you're thinking buying or selling, and we'll address the sellers first here. If you're thinking about selling in the spring, because it's, let's get past the holidays. What should you be doing now? You're going to sell. What should you be doing now?
I mean, it's really a great opportunity once you're taking all your stuff down at the end of the holidays to, really organize, maybe move some of your stored stuff, maybe like your garage is packed full of totes or something like that. Move them to a place that's like maybe a little bit more presentable. Just again, back to that kind of like that, those built-in days off that time. You want to have time to make this transition. You don't want to be doing it last minute.
Right.
You don't want to be rushing. So, I mean, if there's a couple little things that need to get done, it's a great time to, at a minimum, make a plan to have those things done, or, find somebody who can do the things that you need done. Let's say something needs to be painted, or, there's broken tile or something like that. And, get them lined up for the new year. But really, I think it's just taking that time and kind of working your way backwards and saying, all right, how do I set myself up for success when it is time to actually sell?
Well, one thing that is marketed as heavily as anything else is storage stuff.
Yeah.
Especially once you get to like January 1st. But all the containers, all the shelvings, all those things, you can be finding sales on those pretty easily. It's a great opportunity to get organized, not only to make the house more presentable, but get organized for your move.
Yep.
When we travel, we like to drive, but one thing we do well is we put everything in containers, clear totes, and everything stacks real easy, and it's easy to get around. And so when you're moving, it's cardboard boxes, but you're going to have totes and containers and all those things. So it's taking advantage of what's the sales for organizational stuff, but you're also going to be moving a lot of things around anyway, through your attic, through your garage. It's a great time to take advantage of organizing.
Kind of do that spring cleaning ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But
so another thing I put a note here is take pictures of your house decorated. If you're proud of it, take pictures of it, because there's always something to be said for giving folks a vision of what the house could be.
Yeah.
And so
if they feel like they felt this house is homey, I could.
Right. Yes.
We could. I feel can put myself in this house celebrating the holidays next year.
Yep. And especially if you plan on leaving the house vacant, a couple of good pictures with beautiful decorations up will make it feel a little more, keep that character in the house. And then on the same note, we live far enough north, it snows on a regular basis. And what we'll see a lot of times are pictures, like it'll be springtime, it'll be a picture of a house with snow, because it's so pretty.
It is.
So if it snows,
if it's all dressed up,
get out and take some good pictures. When you're going to sell and it snows, get out there and take some pictures and make it as
before the kids and the dogs and the deer.
Yes, right.
Yard.
Yeah, right.
Early,
get that early morning.
Yeah.
When you're soaking it in, it's so pretty with that. Let that sip of coffee trigger you to go get some pictures of it. Yeah, think of that.
I think also, going back to our first topic, that actually is one of the benefits to selling during the holidays. Because your house, just like, assuming that you decorated and that you did it halfway decent,
right?
It's going to be more inviting. Just
most houses
nice,
feel a little warmer.
Tree, and they got the gifts under the tree, and people aren't going to mind that there's like in my living room,
right?
It's Christmas tree, gifts, a little skirt, some little decorations and stuff, and then all the bears' toys in the corner, kind of all piled up. You know, that tree kind of makes those toys.
Right.
Kind of gives it some
balances
context.
out there and leave the tree up year round.
What a great place to have kids. Oh, my God.
Yeah, exactly.
My babies.
Can you write the tree into the contract?
Yes, we'll take the tree. That tree won't last because it's real, but
right.
you're more than welcome.
Okay. little tip of the cap to the next episode. All right. So what you can do now. So your first point was just take advantage of the time and just start prepping.
Yeah.
And projects. Start working on projects. If you're going to have downtime, you're going to especially that week between Christmas and New Year's. A lot of folks either have it off or it's just a slow time. Just be preparing, and we've talked about this in previous episodes a lot. You don't start prepping to sell your home like the week you plan to list it.
Yeah.
It should be months in advance.
Oh yeah.
And certainly we can consult you ahead of that. So we're always free up until all the way up to the day of closing, right? So understand you can call us, talk to us, consult with us, etc. So if you're thinking about it, just plan ahead. There's nothing wrong with any of that. There's always sales on spring decor too. So if you head up to Hobby Lobby, soon, like the 26th, they'll start putting sales on their spring stuff.
Great point.
And it'll be early, and you can exchange the stuff.
Might want to wait till the 27th,
right?
But it'd be there on the 26th, returning all the things.
Right? Yeah, exactly. What's that like? The third busiest shopping day is like the 26th of December.
Yeah. Wouldn't you hate to be a business owner and be like, yeah, we sold $100 million in Christmas, but then we got $50 million of it back.
I worked, so I'll date myself for a second. During the summer, as I think I was 19, I worked at Radio Shack.
Oh,
and that was a like minimum wage plus commissions type job. And you would sell something, and you'd be like, sweet, and you'd get your check, you'd get your commissions check on the next one, and then they'd bring it back, and they'd suck that commissions right back out of your check. And
you get a big old check, and then you end up owing them money.
I implore the folks, exchange your gifts.
Yes.
There you go. Protect the people.
Why
that
buy
are so helpful.
gifts when you can buy a home?
There you go. Ding. Get a little ding. Right.
Why buy a home when you could just buy a whole shopping complex?
Right. There you go.
Or an investment property.
There you go. Right.
Or a large commercial business building for your business.
Who doesn't need more cash flow during Christmas time?
I know I do.
All right, so I'll edit this part out as I'm chatting about notes.
All right.
What can you do now? Yeah, I think we'll start the wrap up.
Yeah.
So we knew this was going to be a kind of a quick one, but we didn't want to ignore what the market is doing.
Yeah.
And the benefit is it's become more balanced, which I think is good overall. We do think a wave is going to come back in the springtime, not just because we're optimists, but because there's still a supply and demand issue. And so getting in while it's a little quiet, it definitely has its advantages. Sure. And then if you don't want to leap in now, it's just you've got too much going on. Just be preparing for next year. Be preparing for spring.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't mention, speaking of preparing, all these parties we're going to and everything. If you know you're going to sell, be telling all your friends and and family, hey, I'm selling my house in spring. So if you know anybody, there's a lot of built-in, marketing. Well, I'll call it marketing, but just like one-to-one, letting people know that the house will be going up for sale. So take advantage of the times and be preparing and laying the steps. And then when you do hit the market, first thing in spring, you'll be one of the first ones to go. Because if you're not preparing, it's an afterthought, and it's too big of a deal to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so thanks again for joining us for Christmas episode number 1. If you want to have some fun, please jump on the episode number 2.
That's right.
If you feel commenty, please throw your BahHumbug moment in there, but we'll get to that on the next one, and we will catch you then.
All right. Merry Christmas.